Hey Jackie, I got my singing bowl. Since I've had more than one request for the bowl, I will use it again this morning. Hey Millers, hope you're doing well today. Hi Jim and Gloria. Hi Reese and Sandy. Hi Lauren, it's good to see you this morning. These are our new Highland Baptist Church coffee mugs, and they're fantastic. They're huge. They hold all the coffee. Get your hands on one when you can. Hi Jean Strebel. Good morning. I say this all the time, but I love it when the hearts fly. They make me happy. Oh, look at they're all flying now. You guys are the best. If it sounds like there's a herd of elephants above me or thunder, it's because my family room is right underneath the boys' bedroom, and they're upstairs playing right now, and it's just occurring to me that you can probably hear them. So have no fear, just children playing. It's another beautiful morning. I hope that everyone gets a chance to be outside and enjoy the day today. All right, let's get started. I'll chime the bowl for us and we can have a moment to listen to the reverberations. I hope that you can hear it all right through the computer. Don't you love my setup with it sitting on a pillow on a pillow? All right. It's still going a little bit. I want to talk to us this morning from about half a chapter from this book. It's called She, 5 Keys to Unlock the Power of Women in Ministry. And while all of you are not women in ministry, there's so many gems in this book that are worth sharing. So I want to mine one of those gems today for us. And it relates to our theme for church this year, or this liturgical season, I guess, and all of the freedoms that we've had, the freedom to be generous, the freedom to be grateful, the freedom to be vulnerable. This season, like we learned last week in Carol's Facebook Live, it is the freedom to be. And you've seen lots in the newsletter about that too. The freedom to be not striving, the freedom to be wrong, we learned last week. Today I want to talk about the freedom to be out of balance. We hear all the time that we need to live in balance, that we need to have all of our priorities set straight, that we need to know which end is up at all times. And if we are living in balance, not only are we being good people of faith, but yeah, that's it. Maybe that we are being faithful and faith-filled. And keeping our priorities right is a symbol of that. And I want to say this morning that that's hogwash, that balance is a myth. And I want us to have some freedom to name that, especially in these days of social distancing when everything is piled upon us in ways that are unusual and outside of social norms and outside of how we normally behave. So I'm going to start with a poem from this book, and it's written by a young woman in ministry, Mary Beth Fiddler, and it's called The Bumblebee. A bumblebee flies into my apartment. It didn't mean to be there. It panics, and seeing the outside through a glass window, it proceeds to push and push against the glass, trying to get where it wants to go in its panic. Never moving from its task long enough to see the open window just inches away. How like the bumblebee I am in work or in my life. I see where I want to go, and in my panic, I forget to look for the open window. So I push and I push and I push, thinking I should be rewarded for all of this hard work, when in fact, I am so frantic, like the bee against the glass. Isn't that so powerful? Every time I read that poem, it speaks to me, especially the part that says, I want some reward for all of this hard work that I'm doing. And a lot of times when we're feeling like we're spinning our wheels or out of balance, if we could allow ourselves the grace and the permission to just be out of balance, but also to just be, then we might be able to see the open window and fly to our freedom. I was texting with a young adult last night, and he and I were asking one another about how our weeks had been, and I'm going to read you part of this text chain. We were talking about trying to find a rhythm to these odd and peculiar days. And I said to him that we are finding a little bit of a rhythm with the homeschooling and when I work and when Tyler works, but that's not making it any easier. And he asked me, can I name specifically what's not easy? And I said, oh, heck yeah, I can name that. So here's what I wrote to him. Mothering. My kids are on their screen way too much. Work. Suffers when mothering takes precedent, but shouldn't that always take precedent? I struggle with being in touch with people not as frequently as I'd like, or as much as I would prefer, and not to mention the housework and the self-care. On bad days, it feels like a crapshoot. On good days, it simply is what it is. And that's just a quick little text. I mean, I think we could go on, right, about all of the things that have us feeling out of balance. Parenting, working. Some of you have job interviews today. Some of you are starting a new job today. I'm a student right now too, so I'm trying to figure out when I get my schoolwork done. And the last 2 weeks I've been late submitting assignments and just having to be gentle with myself on that. I'm trying to figure out what it means to be a friend when I'm distanced from my friends. And then, like I said in the text, self-care, what does that look like? When is there time for meditation or to go on a jog or to read a good book? Balance is a myth. Let me read to you this one little paragraph. And that's her opening sentence. Balance is a myth. It is simply not possible to keep even the important things in your life in perfect balance every day, all the time. At the same time, this is a rather ubiquitous mantra in life. Maintaining balance has become another mark of achievement. Look how well she balances work and home. It can also become that perceived attainable achievement that is so to your detriment and your downfall if you think it is realistic or within reach. Friends, I want to give you this morning the freedom to be out of balance. And yet I want to push back and question, what is this balance that we are all seeking so much, that we're striving for, that we're bumping up against the glass over and over again, that society says if we are good and faithful people, we'll have this beautiful, serene life of balance. What is this for? What are we really trying to get at with that? It's about power. It's about image. And it's about control. Balance is the idea that everything important deserves an equal amount of attention. And so if we can give all the important things the right amount of attention, then we'll be in control. And we won't have to have anxiety or depression or fear. And that's why I keep saying over and over again, it's a myth. because the control is not ours for the taking. And so if we're going to live balanced lives, I think we need to be aware of what's vital to our identity, and then we can have the opportunity to cling to that. So why do we try and have it all together? I'm going to read 2 more quick paragraphs. Being able to identify those aspects of your life that are not only important to you, but also the ones that make up who you are is the first step toward a full life. A life that is authentic. Isn't that beautiful? A full life. Or Jesus talks about the abundant life. A life that is authentic is one that I think we're all striving to live, whether or not we're striving for balance or bumping up against the glass. How can we be authentic? Okay, I'll stop my commentary. Here's what it says. A life that is authentic to who you are and not out of reach of who you are or who you know yourself to be. Although this might not necessarily be a balanced life. And so if we're going to have power and control and show up in the world in the ways that we want to show up and be in the world, she says this: effective power means that you are truthful about when life is out of balance and that you can take action toward realignment before it becomes crashing down all around you. I want to invite you to think about people in your life who model this. Not modeling having everything in control and having balance and having the perfect right of power and a grip on what's not even attainable. But who are those people who can confess and admit, oh my gosh, my life is such a mess right now. I don't know which is up. I'm struggling and everything feels completely out of balance. Those are the people who I want to hang out with. That's reality. I was in an email conversation this week with a senior adult, and she was reflecting back on her retirement and what an identity shift that was, and how that wasn't okay, and how she missed her vocation, and yet she knew that it was time for her to retire. And so it was this weird limbo interim season of not knowing who she was, but also knowing that what she was doing was living into who she needed to be next. And yet I'm sure it felt completely out of balance. That's what I'm talking about. Jane said, preach on. Yeah, I am preaching a little sermon this morning, aren't I? So I want to redefine power. And I want to do it how Caroline Lewis does it in this book. She's the author. I think I forgot to tell you that. I want to say that power and control and balance is when we have a sense of our commitments and we are managing those even in the face of shifting realities. So we're so in the face of shifting realities. Whether you're bored or lonely, or maybe you're sick, or your friends are sick, and there's even been death at this point for people that we know and love, not necessarily in our Highland congregation, but just one degree of separation, there has been death. How are you managing these shifting realities? Are you being gentle with yourself? Are you allowing yourself to say that this is a mess and this is really, really hard? And I don't know how to do homeschooling. I'm not a teacher. Or I don't know how to start a new job in the midst of a pandemic where I'm learning everything remotely, and normally I would have a new office and be in there from 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 every day. I want to close with this, and I want to invite you, if you're friends with Carolyn King on Facebook, to go find this on her wall. She posted this beautiful tale yesterday. It's a piece of writing, and it's about this pandemic, and it says, we're not all in the same boat, but we are in the same storm. Meaning, some folks are facing job loss. Some folks, like I've said, are facing new jobs. Some folks are home with their families and not in isolation. And some folks are living alone and struggling to have human contact and touch and missing that. Whatever boat you're in, know that even as you feel alone, or it might feel overwhelming, or it might feel completely out of balance, that we're in this storm together. And so one day the storm is going to pass, and we will have a vaccine, and we will have treatment, and we will have enough medical supplies, and there will be grocery shelves that are restocked with the supplies that we need. But in the meantime, as we're weathering this storm, know that it's okay to be out of balance. Know that it is hard work. Know that you are strong and capable and brilliant, because like I said in worship yesterday, we have this divine light within us that is the image of God, our Creator. And when we can learn to tap into that and let go of our need for control on the external world and be reminded of our internal world, of the place of compassion and wholeness and giftedness and resources that we need to face the challenges of each day, then we'll find the balance that we're looking for. And so that's my wish for you today, that you might find some semblance of balance in this imbalance. Let's listen to the chime again. May you have the freedom to be out of balance, my friends, and know that your community of faith loves you and supports you, and that we are together in this storm. Blessings on your day.